Uncle Gobb and the Dread Shed. Malcolm didn't really like school very much, so this is how it went. The worksheet said Billy was wearing a blue hat. Then it said, what colour was Billy's hat? Malcolm stared at the piece of writing. He looked for a clue to the answer. Was there anything to help him answer the question? No. This sort of thing made Malcolm worried and sad. Psst, cracker-snacker. What's the answer? Malcolm said in a psst sort of a voice. Blue, said cracker-snacker. I'm not so sure about that, said Malcolm. So he wrote underneath, I don't know. Now, just at that moment, his teacher, Mr. Keenley, was walking past. Well, 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 said Mr. Keenley in a kind voice. Let's see if I can help. Billy was wearing a blue hat. What colour was his hat? When Mr. Keenley said the word blue, he opened his eyes wide, pushed his mouth forwards in a keenly sort of a way, and made his finger draw a wiggly, underliney sort of a line. Malcolm had often noticed that Mr. Keenley had this interesting way of explaining things. If you didn't get what he was telling you, or if you didn't understand what was on a worksheet, he would just say it again, but with loads of eye-opening, mouth-moving, finger-wiggling things. This meant that Malcolm just said what he had said again too. I don't know, sir. Mr. Keenley frowned. Billy's hat is blue, Malcolm. Malcolm looked at Mr. Keenley. Mr. Keenley, I can't write that in the gap, sir. Why not? Said Mr. Keenley. Because I don't know for certain that the hat Billy is wearing is his hat. It doesn't say that it's his hat, so I can't write down his hat was blue when I don't know if it was his hat. Mr. Keenley frowned even more frownily, which meant that the small piece of skin between his two eyebrows made a kind of fold, which Malcolm stared at and wondered if he planted a sunflower seed in it, would it grow into a sunflower? Let's just say that it is Billy's hat, said Mr. Keenley, and when he said is, he did all the eye-opening, mouth-pushing, wiggly finger things again. Malcolm felt sweaty and uncomfortable and sad. Cracker-snacker looked at Malcolm and tried to help by beaming helpful feelings at him through his fingertips. Helpful things, helpful things. It didn't work. No, sir, I can't do that, said Malcolm. That would be wrong. That's how you get questions wrong, sir. I don't want to get any of my questions wrong. My Uncle Gobb says that I must get all my questions right, or I'll end up as a good-for-nothing, standing about on street corners expecting a free ride. Well, Malcolm, said Mr. Keenley in his most kindliest possible voice, I can tell you that the answer to the question is blue. Billy's hat was blue. I've got the answers here, yeah, and if you put blue in the gap, you'll get, let me see, 1 mark. Yes, 1 mark. How about that? 1 mark. Not bad, eh? Better than a kick up the bum. Malcolm could feel his eyes getting fizzy. That's what happened when people said stuff to him that didn't fit with what he could see. Things got fizzy and sad. But sir, he said, the answer you've got on your piece of paper could be wrong. Cracker-snacker said, don't worry about it, Malc. It probably isn't wrong. You know, just put blue. And he tried to beam some more helpful feelings at Malc through his fingertips. More helpful things, more helpful things, more helpful things. Just then, 2 children on another table started practicing licking each other's noses. They were called Ulla and Spaghetti. Mr. Keenley saw them with the eyes he had in the back of his head and said, Ulla, Spaghetti, could you do that nose-licking thing later, please? We're doing the Billy worksheet thing now. He turned back to Malcolm. The answers I have on my piece of paper may be right. They may be wrong, Malcolm, me old matey, but they are always the answers. It doesn't matter if they're right or wrong. They're just the answers that you have to put. Billy's hat was blue. That's the answer. I think you can guess what he did with his eyes, mouth and finger when he said the word the. Then Mr. Keenley walked on to help the next child. Malcolm looked again at the worksheet. Suddenly, to his amazement, he saw something else. At the very bottom, in tiny, tiny writing, it said, Gobb Education.